Hey guys, it's Coach Abell. I hope everyone is safe and healthy and active at home. Hope you guys are enjoying the beautiful weather that we've had the past couple of days, the time with family. Not having NTI, all good things. We live in some pretty ridiculous times, and as a history teacher, I always like to look at events comparatively to events from the past. And I can honestly say that in my experience, teaching this stuff, and in the 34 years I've been alive to live this stuff, I don't know how anyone could argue that this isn't the worst year in U.S. history. Um, if you told me that COVID-19 would not be the worst thing that we'd experienced this year, I would have called you a liar. The time since March 13th has been agonizing and painful, not being able to be with you guys, not being able to work out, to practice football, not being able to prepare for the upcoming season. It's all been the worst. Um, of course, up until the events of this past week. Personally, I've had friends and colleagues and former players and students on both sides of the issue affected negatively. I happen to be pretty good friends with Kenneth Walker's father, who coached me when I was in high school, and he's been a coaching mentor for me over the past few years, pretty much since I got into coaching in 2008. So there are clearly unresolved issues, not just plaguing the U.S., but specifically hurting Louisville and our local community. So I wanted to take a moment and speak to you guys for a few minutes, just so I can feel as though I'm doing my part in this whole thing to make sure I'm helping become part of the solution and no longer parts of the problem. Okay. Before I do that, I have to state the obvious first. Okay, and obviously I'm a 34-year-old white male. Uh, I've not encountered or experienced the injustices that many of you guys or maybe your families have experienced. I have not had to fight for what I feel is owed to me due to the way that I look. All of my encounters with police officers have been relatively positive for the most part. And crazy enough, the only time that I think I've had a negative encounter or negative experience with police came when I was pulled over in college on I-64 with three of my black teammates in the car with me. And I was so naive to what was going on that it took my teammates to say, man, you got pulled over because we're with you. So even in this event, I can't claim this as my own negative experience because of who was with me. So it goes without saying that I can't speak to your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions. Um, and I think trying to empathize with you based on some of my own plights or my own struggles or my own hardships would pretty much be pretty damn offensive. Um, so instead, I want to offer the following. My influence is limited to Fern Creek High School and Fern Creek High School football. It's limited to the players and in part to the families. That's my platform. And that is the only way I know how to help incite change directly. I hope to use my voice as a coach of young athletes to promote the right things that we need to be promoting in the community, and the justified things that we need to be promoting in the community. Uh, Mother Teresa was quoted in saying several times that change is relative, and if you hope to inspire change, you must first reflect the changes in yourself. Um, my job is to help your parents teach you how to transform you from young boys into great men. So, in my experience, here's how I can help you become great men and how we can all possibly get past what's going on, um, even if it's just specifically in our small group of Fern Creek football. Okay. First and foremost, we have to understand where feelings and beliefs come from. Beliefs originate from what we hear, what we continue to hear from other people ever since we were small children. Uh, the sources of beliefs can be, things like your environment, events, your knowledge, your past experiences, what you visualized. Um, so essentially, a feeling, um, or sorry, a belief is something that is embedded into you with a culmination of life experiences from the time that you were born. Feelings are essentially the same way. Feelings are how you perceive an emotion during a particular event. So all this, what I mean by all this, guys, is that it's clear that changing someone's beliefs or hoping someone does or does not feel the same way that you do or a certain type of way, changing that is really, really difficult. These experiences and these memories and these events are personal, which means that they're engraved in you. So to say that it's my job to change your feelings or beliefs is just not realistic. Okay. Instead, my job is to help you figure out what you believe and what you feel, and use that to help mold you into the adult you're going to eventually become. The way that I will help you do that is by providing experiences and memories for you that I hope will last for years in your heart and your mind. Hopefully, those experiences are positive ones that paint everyone in our team and on our team in the positive light. Um, and maybe it opens your eyes to new perspectives as well. I don't think that the issues plaguing Louisville are specific to the Fern Creek community. I don't feel as though they're part of Fern Creek football. But then again, I was also naive to think that these were even issues in the first place. So I had to change my way of thinking before even recording this message. Um, so just some food for thought. The second thing we need to understand is how to express ourselves. Um, you should very much express your feelings. You should very much speak up and speak out on subjects you're passionate about. Uh, but for you guys nowadays, this is a really, really difficult task. And I say it's incredibly difficult because the power that social media has and the influence it has over you and your peers and your classmates and teammates and so forth and so on. Anything you post is could be used against you at any moment in your future. And once it's out there, it's out there. There's no escaping it. My college professor told us that when social media platforms first came out, believe it or not, Facebook used to be a thing specifically for college students. And he had constantly said that when it's out there, it's out there. It ain't disappearing. So odds are, whatever you say nowadays is likely going to piss somebody off, no matter what it is. Okay. If you're a white person, you speak on these matters, you're almost certainly going to screw up and upset somebody. But let me be clear, that doesn't mean you shouldn't speak up. Okay. And this is something that I've kind of had to struggle with over the past couple of days is, um, you know, I know I should say something, but what do I say? I don't know that what I'm saying, because of who I am and because I haven't had these shared experiences with many of our student athletes and their families. What do I say? What, and if I say it and I upset somebody, what's going to happen in the long run? But at the end of the day, actions are better than no actions, and it's better to do something as opposed to not do anything. And so here we have this message tonight. And I'm speaking to everybody, but specifically members of our white families. Speak up and defend the members of the Fern Creek and the Louisville communities. Uh, and don't be afraid to speak up because you're afraid to screw up. More than likely, you're going to mess it up, and you're going to get somebody. But that shouldn't deter us from doing so. Okay. In my opinion, in order to do this, you have to do two things. This is how we can do our best not to upset and not to offend, and not to alienate anyone. Okay. You got to empathize with your counterparts before and after you speak. Okay. You have to show empathy to their situation. And again, you have to, hopefully I've modeled this for you in this video. You have to accept and acknowledge the fact that you You don't know what they're experiencing, but you can empathize with it. Okay. And B, you've got to be prepared to listen after you speak. All right. And, if you ask me, maybe I'm delving too deep into a big, grand issue here, but we clearly don't listen enough to one another. Um, and I think that's one of the issues that's facing us today. And that's something that could tear down our team. It's something that can tear apart our community. And it's something that I think has been tearing down the city, obviously, unbeknownst to a lot of people for years, for decades. And of course, nowadays it's easy to turn it all off. It's easy not to listen. We get into it in front of a phone, or we get behind a keyboard, and we start typing our feelings and our emotions and our opinions, and we don't care to listen if someone else has the other perspective. I don't know how many people I've seen this week on both sides of this argument, or both sides of the issues here, claim that they're going to defriend somebody over the issue. And I understand why. Everyone's angry, everyone's upset. But my point is that it's easy to tune out um, opinions and thoughts that you disagree with. But when you're working in with a team, and you're working in a community, and you're trying to build that option's not there. You can't just unfriend someone. You can't unfollow someone. You have to work through those issues, unfortunately. Okay. Um, and hopefully that's something we get to do. Another unfortunate aspect of this whole thing is that in years before, I think I would have just gathered us all together, and we would sit down and just have a vent session, have one big group therapy session, and talk about our problems, and have people understand where we're coming from. But unfortunately, that just isn't possible right now, because of the coronavirus. Um, so my advice to you is, instead of, when something pisses you off, you unfollow them. Why don't you educate them instead? Okay, don't argue with them. Don't Obviously never argue with someone that can't be argued with. Right? There's no arguing. There's only educating. Empathize and listen. Okay. Um, and again, like I said, this is incredibly difficult stuff for you guys to do these days. I completely understand. And it's difficult for me to do as well. Okay. Lastly, and probably most importantly, we have to understand that actions will always speak louder than words. Okay. It's great to understand where someone, or why someone feels the way they do. It's great to empathize with them. It's great to listen to their views and their thoughts. And no matter what you post or what you say to your friends or family, at some point, people are going to judge you based solely off your actions. If you want to be an agent of change, be about it. If you break down our huddle and you say family, be about it. If you call your teammates your brothers, because that's what football does for people, then be about it. That's the beautiful part of the game. I've said this in a recent parent letter. I played with guys that were from as far north as Canada to as far to south as Haiti. And what they looked like, and what they spoke like, and the music they listened to, and all that kind of stuff didn't define those people. And that's not how we judge any of our teammates. The beautiful part about football is you judge a teammate based on his abilities, and based on his actions, and based on his heart. Football exposes those things to the world, good or bad. And that's one of the reasons why I love this game. And it's one of the reasons why I love using this game to teach you guys these tools that will hopefully make you guys successful in the future. Okay. Just make sure, the last thing I'll say about point number 3 is, just make sure whatever action you take, that action directly reflects who you are and who you want to be. Each and every one of you guys is a phenomenal, great dude that's going to have so much to offer to your community. Make sure that your actions define that. Whatever actions you decide to take, make sure they reflect the positive parts about who you are as individuals. Okay. If you do that, I promise you, you're going to inspire some change. Don't do it because your buddy's doing it. Don't do it because you saw something on Instagram. If you're going to be about it, and do it for the right reasons. Okay. Guys, that's my 2 cents. You guys know me. I'm an open book. You have questions, thoughts, concerns, give me a call or text. I'm going to leave you with just a couple more things. I do have an assignment for you guys that I want you all to do sometime tonight or maybe tomorrow. I want you to shoot. If I want you to shoot a text message to any of your coaches. Okay, doesn't matter who it is. It could be your position coach. It could be your coordinator. It could be me. It could be your freshman coach. It could be. It doesn't matter. Um, Text one of the coaches tonight, and in that text message, I just want you to vent. I want you to get it all out, okay, and express those feelings, because odds are whether you are trying to be cool and not care about it, or maybe you're in your own little world playing Xbox this entire time, I can promise you have feelings on the matter. Okay, air those out right now. Talk with somebody about it. Okay, that's the healthy way to respond to these things. And I promise you, whatever coach you text is going to text you back and is going to have a dialogue with you about these things. Okay, don't be texting them at 1 o'clock in the morning. All right, we're all old and we got things to do in the morning, so make sure you text us sometime, when we're going to be up. Okay, guys, stay positive, stay healthy. Hope is always greater than fear. I'll speak to you guys again tomorrow with hopefully some new news about our plans for upcoming meetings, and we can start getting ready for 2020. Thanks, guys. I love you.